Welcome back to my channel once again. So in this video, I'm looking to the U.S. midterm elections due in early November, the first Tuesday of November. Anyway, so it's looking bad for the Democrats because traditionally the party that holds the White House loses the midterms. It's not true in every case, but that's the overall trend. But this year it seems to be following the usual trend because, of course, President Joe Biden is a Democrat. Now, his approval ratings were in the toilet, as Americans would say. They have climbed back up. He was like minus 20%. The only person more under him was Donald Trump at a similar stage of the presidency. But they have improved recently. Inflation has eased a bit. Energy prices eased for a while. His advocacy of the Ukrainian cause and providing with weapons helped only a little. He didn't go very far. He didn't give them longer range weapons, but maybe that helped as well. And the Republicans found it hard to fault him on the way he was doing that. Republicans tried to create a scare about illegal immigration with limited success. People are a bit bored of that canard, which the Republicans have been doing for years. They were doing during their presidency when they had the White House, the Senate, or even the House of Representatives. They were doing it. Wait a second. If when Republicans are in charge, it's so terrible, why should you vote for Republicans? I mean, but anyway, Republicans are not quite in the brainless bedlam they were under Trump. And the Trumpian fever is breaking. The Trumpian mind virus has reduced, but this diminution doesn't mean it will ever completely disappear. There'll always be a few Trumpers, at least a few in the Republican Party. But I would aver that Trump's diminishing influence is part of the reason the Republicans are doing better. So in the Senate, it looks like it'll be 50-50, but I think I'll say 51 seats for the Republicans, 49 for the Democrats, giving them a slight advantage. The Democrats. Remember, the vice president can vote in the Senate, but only there's a tiebreak, and there probably won't be. These things are highly partisan. It's quite unusual for people to break ranks. Now, remember, the Senate is only 1/3 renewing. Right, so roughly it is a 6-year term, so only 1/3 of the seats are up for election. In case you don't know, there are 2 senators per state, regardless of population. Wyoming is it 400,000 people, and California with over 40 million, they both have a mere 2 senators. So even though Wyoming has 100 times the per capita representation of California. So coming to the House of Representatives, where, if memory serves, there are 460. I'm trying to think, how many is it? Because 270, 270 is what you need to win in the congressional, in the electoral college for the presidency. So it's 540 in total. Yeah, sorry, so it's 440 in total in the House of Representatives. But anyway, it looks like the Republicans are going to get something like 230 in the House of Representatives. So that's a significant gain for them. Yeah, but obviously we can't be sure about these things. There are a number of governorships which are up for debate. So why is it going like this? Yeah, partly that would be the tendency. The party, the White House often gets thrashed. This will be a defeat for the Democrats, but not a disastrous defeat. Republicans about 1 percentage point ahead overall in the opinion polls. Having said that, the opinion polls consistently underrates the Republicans and overrates the Democrats. Democrats struggle with turnout. The people who vote for them are often younger. And in the United States, as well as in most of the industrialized world, the youngest voters are the least likely to actually cast their ballots. Voting has already commenced in some states, such as Georgia, postal voting, that the Republicans are trying to say didn't count last time, despite Trump himself postal voting. The chutzpah, the shameless hypocrisy that characterizes the Republican Party has not disappeared, certainly. They're hearing less about Trump. That's probably a good thing. Some of the more perspicacious Republicans realize they need to move on for the Trump era. It can't be perpetuitous Trumpism, even when he's dead, and that can't be far off. There's a big shoes to fill, and I don't think they don't think any of his children are going to. We're not hearing so much about them. He's got his legal troubles. He's actually looking genuinely worried for the first time. So Ron DeSantis seems to be the uncrowned king of the Republican Party. He's the governor of Florida, which is a vital state. which, if memory serves, is the third largest state in population. Sorry, fourth largest in population. But the crucial thing is a swing state. You look at the most popular states. California is safe for the Democrats. So is New York. Texas is fairly safe for the Republicans. They won it by 6 points last time. Well, maybe safe is not quite the right word. It's not unsafe for them exactly. It's close to marginal. Whereas it's super marginal. Florida, so the Republicans won it by a wafer-thin majority the last two times. Whereas if the governor of Florida stands for the presidency, some Floridians who wouldn't necessarily vote for that party will vote for that person because they want a Floridian to take the White House for the very first time. So Ron DeSantis has got a number of advantages. I mean, he's just the right age. In his mid-40s, he's young, but not too young. He's been a fairly successful governor. He appeals to most of the people Trump appeals to without alienating some people as Trump is. He's intelligent. He went to one of the top universities. He's a lawyer, and so on. He doesn't have so many scandals in his private life. He's not guilty of so much fraud or anything like that. So he's probably quite an inspired choice for them, even though he's got some repulsive views. He's not quite so noisome as Trump is. People thought that some decisions taken a few months ago would really favour the Democrats. That seeming like not to be the case. Having said that, the Democratic ratings were much worse several months ago, so it has come up for them. And the Democrats, find it difficult to say what they're achieving. Foreign policy, okay, there have been no disasters, not been particularly successful. They haven't eased sanctions in Iran, which might have hurt them. They haven't restored trade with the Democrats, which might have hurt them, certainly in Florida. They actually haven't done very much, really. They've just maintained normalcy, which you might think was a dramatic improvement over the Trump presidency. Though they have done things for income support, to try and build infrastructure, to move towards green energy, but nothing's really happened. In his inaugural address, President Biden said he would address structural racism, but he's nothing done about that. I thought he might have an official apology for slavery, be advised by academics, by judges and so on, particularly African American people, about precisely the right form of words, where to do it. Maybe wherever in Virginia the first African people were taken to America as slaves, but he hasn't done that. Might be just solely symbolic, but nevertheless would play well. Some people would think would be part of healing the racial divide. On crime not being particularly effective, on Dreamers I don't think it's brought anything back for them really. Another thing is his age. He's how old is he? He's 79. Sorry, he'll be 81 at the time of the next presidential election. And if we just have a full term, that take him on to 85. At the moment, there's no talk of Kamala Harris taking over. She's the only person who's probably less popular than him. And I think the Republicans have realized that their standard bearer should not be Trump. Even if it's not Ron DeSantis, why on earth would the Republicans be crazy enough to pick Trump? He's the only person they know whom Joe Biden can beat, because he's done it by 4.5%. So they need to move on, and it would also play well for the Republicans to challenge age with youth. If president is 81, have a challenger in his 40s, something like that. They don't appeal to the young very much, and Ron DeSantis would be a relatively youthful presidential candidate. But I know that's some 2 years down the line. But if the Republicans win control of both houses, as they're likely to do, then that will really hamstring the Biden administration. A lot of things you can't get through, but they are quite bipartisan on Ukraine. Now, one of the leading Republicans said, well, not going to write a blank check. Not saying we're going to abandon Ukraine, but there's a limit to how much they would give them. Actually, out of America's enormous defense budget, what they give is actually quite paltry. That's the same as true of many Western countries. But some countries like Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania, Poland have given a lot in relative to their small population and relatively small economies. What else might be different? They've not taken in many Ukrainian refugees. You might say, Europe, that's up to you. They're your neighbours, not ours. Fair enough. And Europeans have shouldered the burden on that one. And some Democrats were preparing a letter saying, come on, we've got to have negotiations. We've got to give the Ruskies something to end this war. Very naively, because this is a crocodile that, if you feed, will definitely come back for more. Appeasement sometimes works. I'm not against appeasement in principle, but we've already tried that with Russia, which is why it's illegally occupying Moldova, illegally occupying the Republic of Georgia, has been illegally occupying much of Ukraine for 8 years before this next illegal and unprovoked war began. So obviously forbearance doesn't work. You must make concessions because they will only attack again. His aims are illimited. He will aggress anyone else and some Russian politicians have even talked about trying to take back Alaska. So they will always renege on their agreements if they think they can. Thank you so much for watching my YouTube channel, and we'll see what happens. I would dearly like to be proven wrong. I would like to see the Democrats retain control of both houses. I think it unlikely. I agree with the Democrats on most issues. Okay, goodbye.